Imagine being told your entire life that Homo sapiens are a separate, superior species, a clean break from all other human-like creatures who came before us. But what if that wasn't entirely true? What if the modern human story, as we know it, began not as a proud leap forward, but as a traumatic, complex encounter with an older, colder, and much more dangerous cousin? The truth is, the Neanderthals weren't just a side chapter in human history. Let's start with the basics. Neanderthals were not the brutish, mindless cavemen we once imagined. They were highly intelligent hominins with large brains, often larger than ours, capable of tool-making, burying their dead, wearing jewelry, and possibly even forming language. Genetically, modern non-African humans carry anywhere from 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA. But that's just the part we can trace through our genome. The Y chromosome, passed directly from father to son, is a unique fingerprint of male lineage. Several studies have shown that certain lineages of the Y chromosome in modern humans, particularly haplogroup R1b, are closely related to archaic traits and are most common in Western Europe. This same group is virtually absent in sub-Saharan Africa, but dominates in populations of European and some African American descent, further suggesting that this genetic legacy came from a powerful, possibly violent, introduction. Where could this have happened? All signs point north, Scandinavia, as the ancient homeland of the most genetically divergent Neanderthals. There, cut off by ice and time, a group of Neanderthals may have evolved under extreme Arctic conditions. Isolated for hundreds of thousands of years, this population developed unique traits: lighter skin for vitamin D synthesis, robust bodies for surviving the cold, and yes, mutations. Then, around 350,000 years ago, a global climate shift began. Warming melted parts of the glaciers and forced animal herds, and their Neanderthal predators, to move southward. Neanderthals followed, not in peace, but in desperation. This was not a gentle migration. It was an invasion. Their passage can be traced from Scandinavia, west into Ireland, through France, down into Spain, and finally crossing over into North Africa via the Strait of Gibraltar into Morocco. Along the way, they encountered and overpowered the native hominins, including Homo heidelbergensis and possibly even early Homo sapiens. And they didn't just conquer them, they interbred with them. But this wasn't love or diplomacy. This was likely violent, forced interbreeding. And out of this trauma, something new was born: Homo sapiens. In Morocco, fossil evidence shows the earliest anatomically modern humans dating back nearly 300,000 years. But these fossils also show signs of hybridization, traits that resemble Neanderthals more than they do Homo erectus. Wide noses, heavy brows, and elongated skulls. One piece of fossil evidence in Spain, Homo antecessor, dated to nearly 800,000 years ago, shows signs of cannibalism. Not random violence, but systematic, likely ritualistic cannibalism. It's believed by some scholars that this could have been a Neanderthal ancestor. And the cultural memory of these violent interactions may still be with us. Our folktales are full of small, strange, hairy beings, some helpful, others terrifying. In Ireland and Scotland, tales of leprechauns, trolls, and the little people abound. They're often described as strong, strange-looking hoarding tools and hiding from humans, not unlike how Neanderthals might have seemed to our Homo sapiens ancestors. And let's not forget the hulderfolk of Norse mythology, forest-dwelling humanoids with human-like features, sometimes helpful, sometimes hostile. They were said to steal children, live in the woods, and avoid sunlight. In some versions, they had tails or unusual body hair. These aren't just fairy tales. They might be genetic memory, passed down from those first traumatic encounters with Neanderthals. Now let's talk about genetic traits. The balding gene found in many European males today, that's Neanderthal. The hooded eyelid shape common among some Asian and Native American populations, Neanderthal. The immune system genes that help fight viruses, again, Neanderthal. It's not just external traits. The very structure of our skulls, our noses, and even the way we process fat in sunlight have been shaped by interbreeding with Neanderthals. Let's take it a step further. If we examine haplogroups, especially R1b, we find a strange pattern. This genetic marker is found most heavily in Western Europe, particularly among populations in Ireland, Spain, and parts of France. Precisely the migration route the northern Neanderthals would have taken as they moved south into warmer territory. Even more stunning, African Americans on average carry about 20% European DNA, which means that African Americans may have had European DNA from Neanderthal interactions 200,000 years before the Atlantic slave trade. Two groups of Neanderthals diverged. One group moved east, toward Asia, and their DNA today is found in Russians, Mongolians, Native Americans, and East Asians. The other group moved south toward Africa. The traits they carried would eventually become dominant in what we now call white Europeans, Arabs, Indians, and African Americans. So when we look in the mirror today, especially those of us with lighter skin, or European ancestry, we're not just looking at Homo sapiens. We're looking at a hybrid, a living monument to violence, survival, and adaptation. Neanderthals are not a distant cousin. They are our real father. And the evidence isn't just written in bones. It's in our blood, our skin, our skulls, and even in the stories we tell our children. The tale of humanity is not one of clean, linear progress. It's a story of collision, migration, and transformation. Of how one group of ancient, cold-adapted humans changed the course of evolution and became part of who we are. This is not science fiction, this is history. And we're still living it.
This has been a Human Origins Unlocked production.